Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. Today I have a word from Matthew, or still in Matthew. Well, I'm still reading in Matthew, but it's from Matthew chapter 9, verses 18 through 26. And in this passage, two things kind of happen, right? A woman gets healed, and then a girl is restored to life. The main thing that I want to think about this, or that I want to, just show you in this passage is that I hope that we can desire for just a touch from Jesus. And I'll explain a little bit more, but that's how I kind of see it, is that it's a faith to desire just a touch. Jesus did a lot of healing. If you've read Matthew, if you haven't read Matthew, but Matthew kind of goes through Jesus's birth and his ministry, and he goes around and he has the most famous Sermon on the Mount, and he says all these things, and he goes around and he heals a bunch of people. And there's two different ways that Jesus healed. He either said something and it healed someone, or he touched them. And that's what I kind of want to hint on today, is a faith to desire just a touch. And a touch is more than just a touch. I have to be near someone to touch them. That requires intimacy, that requires a closeness, that requires getting personal. To know Jesus, for Jesus to know you, it requires a faith, a strong faith, to go out and desire such a touch. But that touch from Jesus, it has multiple implications. It has healing, it has relationship building, it has a strong faith tied to it, it has closeness, a touch. Words are great. I can speak great words, but to desire just a touch, that feels more, we feel comforted by a touch, right? So I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit. Hopefully I condense the time because I like to speak a lot, but let's just see. So I'm going to kind of just go through and list off the many verses and then the different ways and why desiring such a touch. Hopefully that our faith, that my faith as well, desires a touch from Jesus, because that's what I need right now. I need a touch from Jesus, man. I'm struggling. Anyway, so let's get going. So we start off in verse 18, and they kind of set the scene. Boom. Someone comes up to him and he says, Jesus, my daughter has just died, but come and lay your hand on her and she will live. So even the outside people know that just a touch, just lay your hand on her, get close to her, and Lord, she will be healed. You have the power to heal her just by laying your hand on her, right? So we go through, and in verse 19, Jesus rose and followed the disciples, with his disciples. So we also can look at the posture of Jesus in that moment, and that's how he is to us. When we call out to his name, he does just that. He rose and went to go. He rose and went to go, and his disciples followed. So now, as he's going though, a woman who was suffering from discharge of blood for 12 years, a very long time, came up behind him, and she touched the fringe of his garment. There it is again. So now the second time this thing is mentioned, the touch. But the difference between this right now is where we shift, is that she desired, the woman who suffered for 12 years, desired to go and touch him, to go touch Jesus. And that's what stuck out for me the most, is that she had such a strong faith, and I'll get to that in the next verse. She had such a strong faith to go out and desire. She believed in her mind. So if we read here, verse 21, it says, for she said to herself, if I only touch his garment, I will be made well. If I only touch his garment, if I got close enough to Jesus, that's where our faith should always be. Lord, if I get close to you, then I will be healed. It takes a strong faith to have that mindset. When we are struggling, by calamity, by our thoughts, by our feelings, by circumstances, by disappointment, our posture, my posture, should always be, Lord, please come and touch me. Or my faith should always be me longing to go and touch Jesus, because I know 100, 200, 300% that if I just get close enough to touch you, Lord, then I will be healed. I will be healed. That's a promise that he makes to us as well. In verse 22, Jesus turned and seeing her said, "Take heart, daughter, your faith." All right, my apologies, y'all. My SD card got full. I had to make some modifications. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Verse 22, Jesus turned and said, and seeing her, he said, "Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well." It wasn't by any works that she did. It wasn't that she performed this miraculous dance or did anything. She desired a closeness with Jesus. And because she knew, right, faith is also believing, she didn't say, if I touch his garment, he may heal me, he may make me well. No, she believed. So that's what faith is. Strong faith is believing, especially in the impossible, which we'll get to in a little bit, hopefully. In the impossible, her faith made her well. She believed in what Jesus could do. Oftentimes, myself, for certain things, and I may speak on it later, but like in certain things, my faith gets dwindled a little bit in what I believe Jesus can do because of my action. I feel like I severed this thing, or I messed up so badly that it can't be restored or tied again, or whatever it may be. But I have to flip that thinking and that notion and have to believe in faith that even though this happened, hopefully if I'm in the will of the Lord, that this thing could still happen. Like, it's not impossible. We'll get to that. Let's keep going though. The woman was made well, right? So let's backtrack. Desiring for just a touch. Just a touch. So now if we keep going, Jesus is still on the move, right? To go heal this little girl, this man's daughter. But in the moment, someone with strong faith stepped out to desire such a touch. If we keep going, he came to the man's house, and he saw a bunch of things, a lot of commotion going on, right? Verse 24, he said, "Go away, for the girl is not dead, but sleeping." Jesus already knew. I think I wrote here, where is it at? 24. Jesus already knew the posture of the girl. He said, the girl is not dead, but she's sleeping. But look at this after. 25, but when the crowd had been put outside, hold up. Oh, when he said this, they laughed at him. I look at that and I thought about something different. They didn't believe. I feel like sometimes, I was just speaking on this, sometimes our faith laughs at Jesus, because they laughed at him when he said, she is not dead, she's sleeping. Because they didn't believe. They didn't have enough faith to say, okay, maybe this man can do this thing. Maybe this man is the Son of God. He can heal. They laughed and said, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, they didn't say that, but they probably thought, maybe, you don't know what you're talking about. They laughed at him. Sometimes our faith laughs at Jesus, because he says one thing can happen because of our unbelief sometimes, because of our lack of faith. We can still be believers and have small faith, but because of our small faith in that moment of what's happening, it laughs at Jesus, just as though they did. Sometimes I'm in situations that I'm like I'm waiting for something to happen. A lot of times it's during season of waiting for certain things, and because I don't believe it's gonna happen, just because of this and that, or I don't like this, I don't like that, or this thing isn't happening and it's not lining up the way that I want it to line up, my faith is little. It laughs at Jesus and says, oh, it's not gonna happen, Lord. That's what it says. But what Jesus does instead is verse 25. He put the crowd outside. He went in and took her by the hand. He took her by the hand. He touched her. He touched her and took her by the hand. And the girl arose. And the report of this went through all the district. All it takes is just a touch. If we look at some other passages, so chapter 8, verse 15, I'll kind of jump around here a little bit. Chapter 8, verse 15, it says, Jesus, when he went into Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left him. And then what did she do? She arose and began to serve him. That's it, right? But he touched her. Sometimes he said things, and we'll get to that, but he touched her. Where's another one? Chapter 8, verse 3. Chapter 8, verse 3. Jesus cleanses a leper. Leper. Verse 3. Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I will be clean. So beforehand, someone came out and knelt before him and said, Lord, if you are willing, can you make me clean? Jesus stretched out his hand. So he stretched out his hand and touched him. If our faith desires for just a touch, we can be healed, right? Touched him and he was cleansed. It's a closeness, it's an intimacy with Jesus. And there's other certain circumstances too, like verse 8 or chapter 8, verse 8. Sometimes I gotta slow down, y'all. I'll be going so fast sometimes. But if we start in verse 7, chapter 8, verse 7, and he said to him, I will come and heal him. Wait, where am I at? Hold up. Oh yeah, no, right here. So, chapter 8, verse 8. But the centurion replied, Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. So the centurion says, he comes to Jesus, he says, Lord, my servant is sick. Please come and heal him. Jesus said, all right, let's go. Show me the way. I'm on the way right now. He said, I'm going to come and heal him. But you know what the centurion said? He said, Lord, I'm not worthy for you to come under my roof. But only say the word. So sometimes Jesus heals in words, and then also he says later on, he says, truly I tell you, with no one in Israel have I found such faith. So there's a different type of faith too, right? Is still believing, it's still faith. Faith is faith, right? But he believed in Jesus' words too. He believed in what Jesus said in his promise. And he said, Lord, just only say the word, and my servant will be healed. That's a strong faith too. To just believe in what Jesus said, right? Man. And then 9:6, still in chapter 9, verse 6. Or verse 6? Where am I at? Sometimes I be getting lost, dog. No. Verse 29. Yeah, verse 29. 9:29. Yes, Lord. Or no. Then he touched his eyes, saying, according to your faith it will be done. So let's backtrack, sorry. Jesus heals 2 blind men. Verse 28. When he entered the house, the blind man came to him, and Jesus said to him, do you believe that I am able to do this? So we can sit there right there. That's just what I've been saying. Can we believe that Jesus is able to do it? Can we believe with strong faith that Jesus is able to do it? They said to him, yes, Lord. That's what made that. I didn't even. That's because I haven't read this yet. I'm not. Hold up. Verse 29. Then he touched their eyes, saying, according to your faith, it will be done. I didn't read this last night. I kind of came with this last night. I didn't read that passage last night, but I probably should have, because I would have probably started with that, and that would have been the video. That's what, desiring such a touch from the Lord, a closeness to him, and just simply saying, Lord, I believe that you can do this. I believe. And because our faith shows, because our faith is outwardly showing, Lord, come and touch me. Come and fill me up. Come and heal me. And I believe that you can do it. Jesus says, all right, I will do this for you. They laughed at him when he came and healed the girl because they didn't believe that he could do it. It reminds me of a verse, Matthew 19:29 or Matthew 19:26. He said, but man, with man it's impossible, but with God it is possible. A lot of times we try to do things on our own, do things ourselves, take things into our own, hands. Of course it's going to be impossible, but with Jesus, if we have a faith to that Jesus may lay his hands on everything that we do, then it will be possible. Desiring just a touch. May that be your prayer. May that be your confidence that Jesus will come down and touch you, touch whatever situation you're dealing with. Desiring just a touch. This is the first time I actually went through and made a video without having to go word for word on my notes, but it was good. So I'm hoping you guys could take something from it. Desire for just a touch. That's all it takes. And may your faith, you have to have strong faith. You have to get close to him. You have to go and seek him. You have to get near to Jesus to get touched by him so you may be healed. I hope you have a magnificent, whatever you're watching this, whatever comes next, I hope it's great for you. Put your trust and faith in Jesus that he can do it and he will do it. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you. Subscribe to the channel for more.